Hey guys, this is Bert from Insideoutlined and welcome back to another Cricut video. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing everything that you need to know about the Cricut Maker 3. I have my Cricut Maker 3 machine right back here and I've had it for over a year now. So I'm just going to let you know all the things that you should be aware of when getting the Cricut Maker 3. I know for some people they may be trying to decide between the Cricut Maker 3 or some other Cricut machine. And so I just want to share my experience with you and just answer some of the frequently asked questions about the Cricut Maker 3. So before we jump into the video, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. So for those who don't know, the Cricut Maker 3 is just another Cricut machine that came out in May 2021. It may have been May or June 2021. And if you see me looking over, it's because I have my laptop with the questions right over here. So again, the Cricut Maker 3 came out in May or June of 2021. And it's just another Cricut machine that's supposed to be faster to cut with. And it also can cut without a Cricut mat. So if you buy the Cricut Smart Materials, you can cut your materials without even using a Cricut mat. But if you don't have the Smart Materials, you can also use a regular Cricut mat or any other mat that works with your Cricut machine to cut your materials. So your next question may be, how is this Cricut machine different than the other Cricut machines? One of the big differences, as I just mentioned, is that this machine can cut faster, especially if you're using those smart materials. The machine can cut really fast. And even if you aren't using those smart materials, the Cricut machine can still cut fast. And then also, this machine can cut over 300 materials. And I'll get to some of those materials later on in the video. But yeah, those are some of the key differences between the cutting machines. I also have a Cricut Explorer Air 2, and sometimes I'm using them both at the same time. I like both of them, and I especially use them whenever I'm making large orders of shirts or confetti or any other projects where I have bulk orders. It's just so much better when I have both of my machines running at the same time. So to the question of what the Cricut Maker 3 machine can do, I'm going to read off to you a list of things that the machine can do. It can obviously cut just like all other Cricut machines. It can make wavy lines, and for these things you do need to invest in additional blades. The machine or the blade that comes with your Cricut machine is just for cutting, but you can also buy additional blades for your Cricut machine. So it can cut, create wavy lines, perforate, which is like when you have those tickets and it has those little dotted lines that you can pull apart. You buy the blade, the perforation blade. You can do that as well. It can draw if you buy the Cricut pens or Dollar Tree pens. I have a video about how to do that, so be sure to check that out. It can also foil if you buy the foil tool, the Cricut foiling tool. You can score if you buy a scoring wheel. You can also deboss and engrave. And additionally, you can print then cut as well. So to the dimensions and weight of the Cricut Maker 3 machine, I'm going to read off to you the dimensions. So the height is about 6 inches. The length is about 21.18 inches, and the depth is about 7 inches. The weight of the Cricut Maker 3 machine is about 10 pounds, so it's not too heavy, and it's pretty consistent with like the Cricut Explorer Air 2 or the Cricut Maker machine as well. So on to the question about what comes inside of the Cricut Maker 3 box. If you have not watched the video already, I have an unboxing of the Cricut Maker 3 video. I will link that video up top in the cards, and I will also put that video down in the description box as well. But the things that come with your Cricut Maker 3 machine are the machine itself. Obviously, you also have a USB cord just in case you do not want to connect to Bluetooth. You also have a power adapter cord to plug your machine into the wall. You have a welcome booklet, and you also have some materials for a test cut as well. So earlier you heard me mention Smart Materials, and basically those are Cricut branded materials that you can use without a Cricut mat. You can get these materials from anywhere such as the Cricut online store, Amazon, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, and Michael's as well. So again, those Cricut Smart Materials are just materials that do not need a Cricut mat to use. You can invest in those materials if you want, but your machine will still work if you use regular HTV or regular cardstock, regular adhesive vinyl as well. So still in line with talking about the smart materials, and you may be wondering if the Cricut machine comes, or if the Cricut Maker 3 machine comes with a Cricut mat. It does not come with a Cricut mat, so you will have to buy your own Cricut mat for your Cricut Maker 3 machine. The next question is if the Cricut Maker 3 machine comes with a knife blade or some cutting blade. The answer is yes. Your machine does come with the fine point blade. I think that's what it's called. Yes, the fine point blade with the housing little piece that goes around that blade. The machine does come with that. If you want to do any of those additional things that I mentioned earlier, such as drawing or creating wavy lines, you will need to invest in additional blades for your Cricut Maker 3 machine. So on to the question about what materials the Cricut Maker 3 machine can cut. So there is a long list, over 300 materials that the machine can cut. I am not going to read them all to you, but the link to all the materials that you can cut with your Cricut Maker 3 machine will be down below, but I'm just going to read off a couple of the materials that it can cut. So you have acetate, aluminum foil, burlap, canvas, a cereal box if you need to cut a cereal box for whatever reason, duct tape, construction paper, cotton. Not exactly sure what type of cotton you would need to cut, but it says cotton. Corrugated paper, which is like those cardboard boxes, craft foam, what else? You have double cloth. I guess that's some form of fabric. If it's not, please forgive me. I'm not a seamstress and I don't sew, so I'm not really sure. Just reading off the list. Everyday iron-on, so most of your vinyls like scissor or Caesar vinyl that you buy from Michael's or anywhere else, it can cut that vinyl for sure. It can also cut felt, faux suede, flannel, fleece, foil iron-on, freezer paper. What else? Just gonna keep scrolling down. A grocery bag if you need to cut a grocery bag for whatever reason. A heavy chipboard, which is a form of wood. So if you're wondering if the Cricut Maker 3 machine can cut wood, yes, but it has to be a certain thickness. So again, check out this link of all the materials that the Cricut Maker 3 machine can cut. So the next question is if the Cricut Maker 3 machine can print, and the answer to that question is no. So the Cricut machine is basically a cutting machine, and I mentioned earlier that it can also write and use different types of blade to create different types of line on different materials, but the Cricut Maker 3 machine cannot print. In order to print, you need to invest in a printer, or you can also outsource your print documents to be printed to a print shop. So I have a video that shows you the exact printer that I use for my print then cut projects, and I also have a video showing you what to do if you don't have a printer at home and you still want to use the print then cut feature of your Cricut Maker 3 machine. So both of those videos are linked down below, but to answer your question, no, the Cricut Maker 3 machine cannot print. Does the Cricut Maker 3 machine connect to Bluetooth? The answer to that question is yes. I have a link down below in the description box where I show you how to very easily connect your Cricut machine, any Cricut machine, to Bluetooth. So be sure to look down below to read that article on my website. If you want to connect your machine to your computer using a USB cord, you do have a cord that comes in your Cricut Maker 3 box as well. What is the largest print then cut size on a Cricut Maker 3 machine? So a lot of Cricut users have the same question, and I know recently, or as of probably earlier this year, the largest size that you could cut was, or print then cut, was 6.75 by 9.25. I think that Cricut has recently updated that to be a little bit bigger, and I know that they keep updating the software so that we can maximize the size that we can print and cut. So be sure to look down below in the comments to see what those exact measurements or dimensions are for print and cut using your Cricut Maker 3 machine. So the next question is if you need a laptop or computer to use the Cricut Design Space app or just your Cricut machine in general? And the answer to that question is no. If you don't have a computer or a laptop, you can obviously use a tablet or an iPad, and you can also use your cell phone or smartphone also. So some people want to know if the Cricut Design Space app or if Cricut can work with Windows 10 or Windows 11. I'm going to read to you the operating systems that Cricut can and cannot work on. So you cannot use Cricut Design Space on Chromebooks or any Unix or Linux computers. And this is on the Cricut website, so I will be sure to have that link down below in the description box. You can use it on a Windows operating system that is Windows 10 or later. And gonna click over to the Mac operating system. You can use your Cricut Design Space app on Mac OS 11 or later. iOS devices, iOS 15 or later, and then also Android devices 10.0 or higher. Again, you cannot use the Cricut Design Space app on Chromebooks. And then they also have a list of different types of Android devices that you can use Cricut Design Space on, including like the Samsung Galaxy S, Galaxy Note, Galaxy Tab A. You can also use it on Google Pixel phones if you have one of those, LG devices, and Motorola devices as well. Some people have the question of which is the best laptop to use for Cricut Design Space. And I personally think whatever laptop that you have accessible to you is the best one, especially if it can run the Cricut Design Space software. I think a lot of times we feel like we need to have all the right devices in order to start crafting, but as long as you have any of those computers or devices that I just mentioned, which are linked down below in the description box, you should be good to use Cricut Design Space. You don't have to have the most expensive devices in order to use Cricut Design Space, although I do highly recommend using a laptop or a computer just because the screen is larger and it's easy to find some of the things on the screen. So if there's any recommendation I would suggest, and it is to make sure that you have a laptop or a computer. Which one, I can't tell you. Like I said, whichever one works best for you. I have a MacBook laptop. I've had it for a few years, and I did not invest in it just for my Cricut. I use my MacBook for a lot of things like editing videos, just like this. So again, use whatever laptop or computer you have access to. And again, if you're looking to invest in one, you don't have to get the top of the line device either. Is the Cricut Maker 3 compatible with an iPad or a tablet? Again, yes, it is compatible with an iPad and also with tablets. Just make sure that they are the correct operating system, which I do have linked down below in the description. So what are the must-have or the essential tools that you absolutely need to craft with your Cricut Maker 3 machine? So I will say that it depends on the type of projects that you want to create. For just about every project that you use, you will need a Cricut Basic Toolkit, and that has a weeder, a scraper. It also has a little spatula and some scissors, and I think one more other tool, like some tweezers. Yeah. That is absolutely necessary in order for you to create with your Cricut machine. If you don't want to pay the price that Cricut has for their 5-kit bundle, I think it's 5 tools total, and it can go on sale every so often, but then regular price is a little bit pricey. You can also go to Dollar Tree and find these exact items. They're Dollar Tree branded items, but they do the exact same job. And I will have those items linked down in the description as well. So additional things you will need, let's say that you want to use adhesive vinyl, which is vinyl that you can put on your wall. You can make laptop decals, window decals for your car and things like that. You will need obviously that adhesive vinyl. You will also need transfer tape for that as well. If you are looking to make HTV or iron-on projects, you will need obviously HTV or iron-on. You will also need a Cricut Easy Press machine. I do have a Cricut Easy Press 2 machine, and I absolutely love it. I love it because it's portable and it gets the job done and it looks professional. So you would need a HTV or iron-on. You would need a Cricut Easy Press 2 machine or some other heat press machine that you want to use. You would also need like a Teflon sheet, and those are basically the three like main things you would need to have if you're creating HTV projects. If you want to create paper projects, obviously you need cardstock or construction paper. If you make shaker cake toppers like I enjoy doing, you would need confetti and acetate paper. So the list can get very, very long, but I do have a link to the projects that are absolutely necessary, or the items that are absolutely necessary depending on the different types of Cricut projects that you make. So in wrapping up, I have 2 more questions to answer for you. One of them is the Cricut Maker 3 worth it? Like, is it worth the price tag? Because currently it's like top of the line Cricut machine. I'll say for me personally, the Cricut Maker 3 machine was worth it. I enjoy crafting with my Cricut Maker 3 machine. It can cut just about anything that I want to cut. I would one day like to cut acrylic, and the Cricut, currently this Cricut machine or this model of Cricut machine does not cut acrylic. So for me, the Cricut Maker 3 machine is worth it. It was a pretty hefty price tag, but I wouldn't change it. Again, it can cut lots of materials, over 300 materials, and it can also cut faster. So sometimes when I'm working with my Cricut Explore Air 2 and I'm working with my Cricut Maker 3 machine, you know, it just gets the job done, and that's why I love it. Obviously, if you have a budget that you're trying to stay within, I definitely would recommend the Cricut Explore Air 2 or the Cricut Maker machine. Those are a little bit less expensive, and they also get the job done. So do you need the Cricut Maker 3, like the top of the line model? It's not an absolute necessity, but if you do want to cut a little bit faster, cut without a mat, if you're willing to invest in those Cricut smart materials, then I say go for it. So the last question is, where can you buy a Cricut Maker 3 machine or a Cricut Maker 3 bundle? You can obviously go to the Cricut website, or you can go to Amazon, Hobby Lobby, Michaels, or Walmart to get your Cricut Maker 3 machines. So overall, I hope that you enjoyed this video on everything that you need to know about the Cricut Maker 3 machine. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and I will be sure to respond to them. And again, if you have not liked this video, be sure to do that and also subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.